NHL training camps mark a time of renewed, sometimes unrealistic, optimism, with players who might end up getting injured crowing about being in the best shape of their lives. Even so, there are some fans who can see the writing on the wall: their favorite team is going to be really bad. There's at least a handful of fans who, even in September, are already dreaming of getting the top spot in the draft lottery for the 2018 NHL draft. So, who should they hope the team gets? Well, some prospect rankings are already trickling through, from TSN's Bob McKenzie and Craig Button to the Hockey News' Ryan Kennedy, and so on, with a near-unanimous consensus that the favorite to be the top pick is Swedish defenseman Rasmus Dahlin pictured. McKenzie reports that many believe that Dahlin could be a difference-maker as a top defenseman, not just a top-pairing blue liner. He already has some sweet highlights to boot when it comes to the second pick. Russian winger Andrei Svechnikov is a frequent choice. McKenzie and others indicate that, if anyone's going to push Dahlin as the top pick, it would most likely be Svechnikov. There are other intriguing considerations, with McKenzie noting that Adam Boqvist, another Swedish defenseman, is more divisive among scouts because he lacks ideal size. The only other prospect to get a vote at number 2 is Dahlin's countryman Adam Boqvist, a 5'11", 168-pound blue liner who is said to have electrifying offensive ability. But there's a wide divergence of opinion on Boqvist, probably rooted in his sub-6-foot size. 3 scouts surveyed by TSN did not include Boqvist among the top 10. Boqvist is the younger brother of New Jersey forward prospect Jesper, who was taken by the Devils in the second round of the 2017 draft. Interesting. And then we transition from interesting to potentially infuriating, at least for opponents, as there appears to be another tkachuk who could make a difference. Back in July, PHT's Cam Tucker took a look at tkachuk, with Brady inspiring a pretty telling quote. "Makes something happen on almost every shift with an excellent compete level," David Gregory of NHL Central Scouting told NHL.com. "He has very good hockey sense and thinks steps ahead of the play, especially on the offensive attack. He is tough to play against and is willing to go to the tough areas to make a play. Sounds like he'll fit in at tkachuk Thanksgiving. Anyway, it should be fun to see how these prospects rise and drop in the rankings, as 2018 has generally been tabbed as a promising year for NHL prospects. It may not have counted in the official standings, but the Vegas Golden Knights hit the ice for a game for the first time on Sunday afternoon and put on quite a show. The Golden Knights absolutely obliterated the Vancouver Canucks by a 94 margin in the first exhibition game thanks to 4-goal outbursts in the first and third periods. Leading the way for the Golden Knights on Sunday was 21-year-old forward Tyler Wong. Wong not only opened the scoring for the Golden Knights just 458 into the game, he added 2 more goals later in the game to complete the hat trick. He also picked up an assist for a 4-point night. Nick Suzuki, one of 3 first-round picks by the Golden Knights, also scored in the win. Both teams used fairly bare-bones rosters that were made up mostly of prospects, but Vegas' young players clearly ended up getting the better of the play with 9 goals from 6 different players and 38 shots on goal. Vegas didn't have Marc-Andre Fleury, James Neal, Jonathan Marchessault, Riley Smith and David Perrin in the lineup, while the Canucks didn't use Henrik Danielsson, Louis Eriksson, Bo Horvat, Thomas Vanek, or any of the regular defensemen. The Golden Knights continue the preseason on Tuesday night when they visit the Colorado Avalanche. They will play the first home preseason game on Tuesday, September 26 against the Los Angeles Kings. Glendale, Arizona. At poor-wise conditions after a weekend concert has forced the Arizona Coyotes to cancel their scheduled preseason home game Monday night against the Los Angeles Kings. Coyotes president and CEO Steve Patterson announced Sunday that the game, which was to be the team's preseason opener, won't be rescheduled. He says the ice at Gila River Arena was not in suitable playing condition for the game, but didn't elaborate. Latin pop artists Gloria Trevi and Alejandra Guzman played a concert at the venue Saturday night. Patterson says the company that manages the arena has assured the team that all measures are being taken to repair the ice as soon as possible. Arizona plays Wednesday night at Anaheim and Friday night at Calgary before hosting San Jose on Saturday night. Each time Seth Jones felt like the Columbus Blue Jackets were dominating, the Pittsburgh Penguins went down the ice and scored. The series was over fast. TJ Oshie knows the feeling because the Penguins did it to the Washington Capitals often during playoff series the past 2 years. It kind of deflates what we're doing and it's hard to trust your game after that, Oshie said. Opportunistic, well-coached and talented, Pittsburgh has won 8 consecutive playoff series to become the NHL's only back-to-back Stanley Cup champion of the salary cap era and the first since the Detroit Red Wings in 1997 and 1998. Now everyone's trying to figure out how to stop the march of Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin and the Penguins as they go from the three-peat. It's not one thing, Jones said. There's not a Crosby stopper. There's not a Malkin stopper. You can't put a stop on them. You just have to contain them. No one has contained them so far. The Penguins mowed through the New York Rangers, Capitals, Tampa Bay Lightning and San Jose Sharks to win the Cup in 2016 and then the Blue Jackets, Capitals, Ottawa Senators and Nashville Predators in 2017, and only 3 of those series needed 7 games. Patrick Kane acknowledged that while he and the Chicago Blackhawks used to be the standard after winning the Cup in 2010, 2013 and 2015, the Penguins have surpassed them. While the Los Angeles Kings rivaled the Blackhawks during the heyday, the Penguins have shown to be unbeatable when it matters most. It seems like they're on the brink sometimes, and they find the way out of it, Kane said. Just watching games, it's almost like you have that feeling that they're going to win, especially in playoffs. Whether that's the coaching staff or the players or just that organization, it seems like they have something pretty special going right now. If there are cracks in Pittsburgh's armor, they came this offseason with the losses of goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury, defenseman Trevor Daley and forwards Nick Bonino, Chris Kunitz and Matt Cullen. But Crosby, Malkin, goalie Matt Murray, winger Phil Kessel, top defenseman Chris Letang and coach Mike Sullivan remain, which explains why the Penguins are favored to win again and make it 3 in a row for the first time since the early 1980s New York Islanders dynasty. When you get Sid, Gino, Letang on the team, you always have a chance, said Fleury, who went to the Vegas Golden Knights in the expansion draft. That's how I felt every time. When every season started, I always felt like we had a chance to do great. I think they'll be dangerous again. Usually the grind of playing over 100 games in a season wears on a team. Ryan Getzlaf, whose Anaheim Ducks won the Cup in 2007 and lost in the first round the next year, said a team needs luck and a group that's able to sustain a high level of game through fatigue the entire next year. Now that the Penguins have sustained to win twice, no one's betting against them doing it again. They're a good team, and they're going to continue to be a good team, Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Shane Gostisbehere said. They're the heavyweight chums right now, and you've just got to knock them off. Easier said than done. Now maybe Murray will struggle with a heavier workload. The depth that Fleury said paved the way to the championships will wear thin. But if there's a blueprint to attacking the Penguins, it might be putting pressure on the blue line. You have to play a physical style, but also you have to play a skill style as well, Jones said. You got to get to them, you got to get to the defensemen, I think, and that's something that teams may focus on. The Penguins won last spring with a no-name defense while being outshot 794,718, yet they found ways to win. Oshie said any potential Pittsburgh killer must be more resilient, and Predators defenseman Roman Josi knows there's a mental aspect to facing a team with so much success. Once you win a lot of series, you start to believe more and more and the confidence grows, Josi said. As an opponent you've got to get in there and believe that you can beat them. Obviously it's tough. They're a great team, but you got to have that belief. Follow hockey writer Stephen Wino on Twitter at http://www.twitter.com/wino. For more app NHL coverage http://sapnews.com. Tanyoki. Even if you assume that intriguing young defenseman Jakob Chychrun won't really be healthy until late in 201,718, the Arizona Coyotes suddenly boast a remarkably promising defense after acquiring Jason Demas. Read more about that significant trade here. Demas joins a group including stud blue line Oliver Ekman-Larsson, underrated puck mover Alex Goligoski, and Niklas Hjalmarsson, one of the best pure defensive defensemen in the game. Jamie McGinn has quietly put together a solid career, yet his kind are easier to come by in the NHL, a league where competent top 4 defensemen are at a serious premium. Just ask Coyotes GM John Shaker. That top four has something for everyone, and generally boasts the sort of mobile, talented defensemen that are coveted in the NHL. Ask yourself for a moment how many teams, particularly in the Western Conference, can confidently say that they have a better defense core than the Coyotes do right now. The Nashville Predators and Calgary Flames are immediate answers, while the St. Louis Blues likely boast a stronger group too. Things get a little fuzzier once you reach down the conference's ranks. The San Jose Sharks boast bigger strengths on the high end with Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Brent Burns, but the Coyotes might have them beat from a depth perspective. The Winnipeg Jets boast some interesting talent, yet you wonder if Paul Morris is really harnessing that potential. And so on. We can quibble over Arizona's exact place among those groups, yet it's difficult to dispute that, suddenly, the Coyotes seem respectable in that area. They have the makings of a team that can make a surge in other areas, too. If Antti Raanta can covet strong backup work to full-time difference-making Cam Talbot, Martin Jones, suddenly the Coyotes are that much tougher to score against. Step and give that forward group some credibility, while things could get interesting if Max Domi, Anthony Duclair, and Dylan Strome take steps forward. And, really, a signing like this might inspire the Coyotes to push to add a little more offense. Maybe older guys who can be more than mere mentors like Jaromir Jagr or Denis Zaripov deserve at least an exploratory phone call right now. There are a ton of ifs, right down to how well Rick Tocchet can mold what, to many, looks like a roster that's about as polished as a ball of clay. Don't be surprised if the Coyotes become a chic dark horse candidate as previews start trickling in, though, either.